Okay. Good morning to the talmidim here in Cheder Menachem in Los Angeles. It is, of course, our privilege and our honor that we're able to host today's webinar in honor of Chof Cheshvan, as talmidim who learn in the Rebbe's Yeshivas and the Rebbe's Chederim, certainly considered branches from the Yehivas Tomchei Temimim established by the Rebbe Rashab. It's most appropriate that we prepare ourselves for a day like Chof Cheshvan with a Fabrengen, that we're doing it together with our Chaverim, talmidim who are learning in yeshivas across North America. And it is our honor to introduce the Rebbe's Shliach to Brentwood, California, our very own Rabbi Boruch Hecht.
Thank you, Rabbi Greenbaum. Good morning. Good morning, talmidim of Cheder Menachem and all the other Chedarim around the world. If you can't hear me, somebody give me some sort of a signal and we'll make adjustments here to the microphone. The boys here can all hear me. Chof Cheshvan is, of course, the birthday of the Rebbe Rashab. And as Rabbi Greenbaum said, the Rebbe Rashab was the Miyased of Tomchei Temimim. He founded Yeshivas Tomchei Temimim, and every single one of you is a Talmud in Tomchei Temimim. When the Rebbe Rashab founded Tomchei Temimim, he made a special kuntus Eitz HaChaim, whose goal was to teach Temimim what it was that was expected of them. And within that context, the Rebbe Rashab quoted a Gemara that says, "Kol hayotze l'Menachem es beis David, kesef get krisis le'ishtay." In so doing, Rebbe Rashab empowered every student and every disciple that would come through the doors of Tomchei Temimim, and certainly from that point forward, every Chassid Chabad, as being a chayil, a true soldier, fighting Menachem beis David. What's Menachem beis David? Bringing Mashiach. Simple. And when you're fighting such a war, and you realize that the entire war is about bringing Mashiach, then there's nothing left but you have to cut yourself off from the world and immerse yourself completely and totally. A soldier on the battlefield in the heat of battle, if he starts to think about anything else other than victory in the battle, he's lost. A soldier in the heat of battle has to think only exclusively, block everything else out, only what do I need to do to be victorious in this war and bring victory to the battle. So we'll start with a story of the Rebbe Rashab. Many of the popular stories you all know, the Rebbe Rashab going to the Tzemach Tzedek when he was a little boy and asking why Hashem doesn't reveal himself to him. Many others, maybe you don't know this story. And if you do, it's good to hear it again anyway. The Rebbe Rashab traveled a lot, mostly for health reasons, also for reasons of communal affairs. He left the city of Lubavitch numerous times. During many of these trips, some of those trips he took the Frierdiker Rebbe with him, some of them he didn't. Before one of these trips, the Rebbe Rashab was going by himself and he left the Frierdiker Rebbe behind. He called in the Frierdiker Rebbe before he left, and he left the Frierdiker Rebbe in charge of everything going on in Lubavitch while the Rebbe Rashab would be gone. And so the Rebbe Rashab went over with the Frierdiker Rebbe certain things. This issue is going on. You have to deal with it in such a way. I want to make you aware of this. I want to make you aware of that. I want to tell you what it is, things you can do, things you should do, etc. Like any Rebbe or any director of any large organization would do if he's going away for a while and there's no Twitter and there's no texting and no WhatsApp. So you need to know how to be able to deal with things. So he has to give instructions before he leaves. During the course of the conversation, the Rebbe Rashab mentioned to the Frierdiker Rebbe that he had one cabinet, and in that cabinet there was certain ksavim. You familiar with what ksavim are? Ksavim are manuscripts. These are handwritten notes of the Rebbe Rashab, teachings of Chassidus, Maimorim maybe that weren't yet edited by the Rebbe Rashab, that he just started writing. They're ksavim, these are manuscripts. And the Rebbe Rashab said to the Frierdiker Rebbe, this cabinet has certain manuscripts in it. You see that cabinet? Don't touch it. I don't want you to look through those manuscripts. They're not ready for the world. And the Rebbe Rashab was so strict with the Frierdiker Rebbe that he said to the Frierdiker Rebbe, if you touch those manuscripts, if you open them up and you read them, you will lose out imi b'mechitzasi. Familiar with that term? Do you know what that means? That means that the Frierdiker Rebbe will lose his portion in Gan Eden next to the Rebbe Rashab. If you touch those manuscripts, you will lose a chance to be next to me in Gan Eden. You will lose imi b'mechitzasi. So don't you dare touch them. I don't want you to look at them, because if you do, you will lose imi b'mechitzasi. Any of you have, by the way, ever heard the story before? Oh, great. You did hear the story? Okay. So the Rebbe Rashab said that you will lose imi b'mechitzasi. Then the Rebbe Rashab left. Now, first of all, before we go any further, if you were the Frierdiker Rebbe, what would you do? You would have? Seriously? Right? How many of you, of course, would never touch it because you wouldn't want to lose imi b'mechitzasi? Raise your hands. Okay? Anyway, the Rebbe Rashab goes on the trip, and he comes back from the trip, and now when he returns from the trip, he's meeting with the Frierdiker Rebbe because the Frierdiker Rebbe is telling the Rebbe Rashab everything that went on while he was gone. Now he has to give a report. Here's what I did with this. Here's what I did with that. Here's how I handled this thing. These are new issues that came up. These are things I started on my own. I initiated, etc., which is normal. It's a normal meeting that should take place between the Rebbe Rashab and the Frierdiker Rebbe. And the Rebbe Rashab is listening to the Frierdiker Rebbe give this report, and he's waiting to hear something. And it's obvious that the Rebbe Rashab feels like there's something missing in the Frierdiker Rebbe's report. And the Frierdiker Rebbe senses this. So he says to his father, something wrong? Are you missing something? So Rebbe Rashab said, what happened with the manuscripts that I told you not to touch? What about those manuscripts? I told you not to touch them. So the Frierdiker Rebbe looked at the Rebbe Rashab and said, are you kidding me? You threatened me with losing imi b'mechitzasi. You said I was going to lose my portion in Gan Eden next to you if I touched those manuscripts. I didn't come anywhere near them. I locked up the cabinet. I kept as far away as I possibly can. I wouldn't touch them. I don't want to lose imi b'mechitzasi. So the Rebbe Rashab looked at the Frierdiker Rebbe and he said, Vu is the Mesiras Nefesh for Chassidus. Where is your self-sacrifice for Chassidus? You're kidding me, right? Rebbe Rashab said to him. Because you were afraid to lose your Gan Eden, you forewent an opportunity to see Chassidus? Where's your Mesiras Nefesh for Chassidus? Now, any of you confused by this story?
Yeah. I said I would touch them.
Raise your hand if you're kind of confused. Right? The Rebbe Rashab said, don't touch it, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
The Rebbe Rashab said, don't touch it. Ah, that's true. The Rebbe Rashab told the Frierdiker Rebbe, don't touch it. But the Rebbe Rashab added a strange thing. If you touch it, you will lose imi b'mechitzasi. Since when is imi b'mechitzasi a big deal to Chabad Chassidim? Since when is that for us a big deal? Our job is to be soldiers, and this is what the Rebbe Rashab I believe that Rebbe Rashab was telling the Frierdiker Rebbe, our job is to be soldiers. We are chayole, fighting Melchemes Beis David. And when you are Kol HaYetzel Melchemes Beis David, when you are the soldiers that are going out to fight the war of Beis David, it is immaterial, your own benefits. Even if we're talking about your own benefits that are Gan Eden, Olam Haba, etc., none of that applies. None of that is important. The only thing that's important is that the Baal Shem Tov was told, Mashiach will come when the wellsprings of Chassidus are spread to the outside world. Your job is to spread the wellsprings. And if you have an opportunity to see new Chassidus, who cares about it? There's a joke people tell. It's an interesting joke. It starts off, it's based on a real thing. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. You ever heard of Nachman of Breslov? Okay. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov was a holy Jew. And if you ever see Breslov Chassidim, you'll see the Breslov Chassidim have very thick, long payas. Do you know why they have very thick, long payas? Do you know why? Rabbi Nachman of Breslov promised, this is a true thing, that Rabbi Nachman of Breslov promised that any one of his Chassidim, anyone who was his disciple, if after he passes away, he's being sent to Gehenna, Rabbi Nachman of Breslov said he will personally pull the guy out of Gehenna by his payas. This is a true thing. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov promised this to his Chassidim. So therefore, the Breslov Chassidim have very long payas because they want to be able to give Rabbi Nachman of Breslov a good target. You know, if you have small payas, he may not be able to grab hold so well. So they wear very long payas. I'm not making fun of them. I'm just telling you the facts. This is what they do. So the story is told that a Breslov Chassid and a Chabad Chassid passed away at the same time. And they came in front of the Bezdin Shalmaila. And the Bezdin Shalmaila starts to look at their records. And they say, two Fruma Yidden, nice guys. You did a lot of mitzvahs in your lives. You were both decent fellows, but perfect you weren't. You weren't even Beinanim of Tanya. You know, you have flaws. And when you have flaws, you got to get cleaned up. We can't send you to Gan Eden. We're going to have to put you in a cleansing process. So, I'm sorry to say that both of you are going to have to go to Gehenna. Yeah. Come on. This is why did Rabbi Nachman Breslov say by the payas? I don't know. That's what he said. Now you're gonna have to ask him. Mashiach will come. You'll ask him. The story is a joke. So if you have questions on the story, don't bother. Ken Zayin? This I don't know. I never heard that. Anyway. So the two guys get sent to Gehenna. The Breslover and the Chabadnik get sent to Gehenna, and they both enter into Gehenna. And the Chabadnik looks at the Breslover and he goes, "What do we do now? What do we do now?" So the Breslover looks at the Chabadnik. He says, "We? Who's we? I don't have anything to do with you." And the Breslover looks up and he goes, Rabbi Nachman, I was your chassid all my life. You promised to save me from Gehenna." All of a sudden, two hands descend into Gehenna, grab the Breslover by the payas, boom, gone. The Chabadnik is standing there, and the Breslover is gone, and he starts to look around, and he goes, "Wow, that was wild. Maybe I should try it too." So the Chabadnik looks up, he goes, Rebbe Ratava. It's actually a story of the Rebbe Rashab where a guy was in jail and a guy was stuck in jail for 24 hours, almost 48 hours in Astov. And when he got out, he came to the Rebbe Rashab. The Rebbe Rashab said to him, you wouldn't have had to stay so long in jail if you just would have sat in jail and said, Rebbe Ratava, Rebbe saved me. I could have saved you. But because you didn't say Rebbe Ratava, you got stuck longer. So the chassid is standing there in Gehenna, the Chabad chassid, and he looks up, he goes, Rebbe Ratava, Rebbe, save me. I'm stuck here. Please save me. Waiting to see what's going to happen. And a hand descends down into Gehenna with a brand new dollar bill and reaches out to the Chabadnik and says, Hatzlacha and your new shlichus. This is who we are. The Rebbe Rashab empowered us. What? The Rebbe Rashab empowered us to turn Gehenna into Gan Eden. We are not the people that have to worry about Olam Haba, Gan Eden, Gehenna, Schar, Einish. None of those things mean anything to us. What the Rebbe Rashab created on Chof Cheshvan is that we are soldiers. We are chayolim fighting Menachem Beis David. And when you're a chayol fighting Menachem Beis David, it doesn't really make a difference. It's of absolutely no consequence what it is the result is going to be, except for bringing Mashiach. It's not important for you. It's not important your benefit. It's not important how it's going to change your life. And let's talk about this in practical terms for a few minutes. Every single one of us knows somebody. Well, he may be your classmate. He may be your chavrusa. He may be a neighbor, a family member, or just somebody you bump into on the street. That person, if you let your nefesh habamis talk to you, seems like a pain in your neck. In what sense? You have things you want to do. Let's go from the lowest to the highest. You want to play basketball. This guy can't shoot to save his life. He could not shoot to save his life. And you wonder to yourself, and he keeps calling you all the time, can we go to the park together? We'll play one-on-one. And you say to yourself, one-on-one with this guy is like a gelechter. It's a joke's joke. I can't play this guy one-on-one. He can't shoot. He can't shoot, he can't dribble, he can't rebound, he can't box out. But it doesn't make a difference because today everybody's shooting three-pointers. You don't need to rebound. Right? Doesn't know anything, he can't do it. What's the point of me playing basketball with such a guy? It's a waste of my time. Now let's take that, lahavdil, to the other extreme. To the other extreme. There's a guy you know doesn't pick up Gemara as quickly as you do. He doesn't pick up Chassidus as quickly as you do. He just doesn't. There's a big test coming up, and you need to study for the test. You have no choice but to study for the test. You want to study for the test. All of a sudden, your telephone rings at home. It's this guy on the phone. Would you mind, can we be chavrusas to study for the big test together? And you say to yourself, you're kidding, right? Every one of you has that thought. Every one of you has that thought. So now the question is, are you a Chayil Beis David? Or are you stam, just a student in a yeshiva? Are you a tamim? Or you're just a guy who goes to school? You're in Tomchei Temimim, every single one of you. And you carry an obligation as talmidim of Tomchei Temimim that dafka, that's the person you should be reaching out to. Forget about the fact that the Tzemach Tzedek promises, you yourself, your mind will open up 1,000-fold because you're helping somebody who's not your equal. So imagine, your own chazara will take 1,000th as long as it should have taken you. So forget about the fact that you'll have your own benefits because that's what you're promised by the Tzemach Tzedek. But even that, to be able to experience, that also takes a sense of self-sacrifice, because is it really going to happen? You have to be able to believe that. That's what it means to be a chayil. That's what it means to be a soldier in fighting Menachem Beis David. The person you meet on the street that takes up too much of your time. I try to do Shnai Mikra on Fridays. Almost never happens. I always wind up having to do it Shabbos morning. But I try to do my Shnai Mikra on Fridays when I have time. And Baruch Hashem, the Eibishter sends me every Friday different people that absolutely need my help. There's one Yid who's his name is Avram, and he's 99 years old. And we yesterday he was in shul. He comes to shul every Shabbos. His 100th birthday is coming up in 3 weeks. We'll make him a big birthday party in our shul for him. But yesterday we called him to the Cheder. Why? Because he's Avram and he's 99. So I said, well, what's your message at age 99 for the world? He said, I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing another 100 years. No way. He said, I don't want to do that. But Rabbi Avram is a Yid who, if I don't bring him food, he doesn't eat. He gets deliveries from Meals on Wheels. Rahman al-Islam, it's not kosher anyway, and it's not enough food for him anyway. So he waits. Friday, I bring him food for Shabbos. Shabbos day he comes, eats by us, but for Friday night, I bring him food. He has enough food left over almost till Monday. One of my daughters brings him on Monday. Someone from our congregation brings him on Wednesday. And then by then comes Friday, I'm back again. If we don't bring him food, he doesn't eat. He won't have what to eat. So sometimes on a Friday, you're running around, especially in the winter. You have things you need to get done. So now the question is, am I going to be able to fit Wadler in? Am I going to be able to fit Wadler in? Even in the summer, running around like a Meshuggah, sometimes we take in Shabbos early. So I'll come to people are already coming to shul, and I didn't go to Wadler yet. And he's sitting there with his yarmulke on his head, waiting for me to come to bring him his food, put on tefillin, and that's his Friday. Lives by himself, takes care of himself, refuses anybody should help him. So there are some Fridays when I think to myself, I don't have time for Wadler today, but no matter what, I won't eat, I won't take a shower, etc., but I have to get to Mr. Wadler, because if not, he's not going to eat. That's Kabbalah's oil. You think about nothing else except for what has to get done. You set aside every other thing in your life except for the mission that's sitting in front of you. And if that manifests itself in Avos Yisrael for someone in your class, for a neighbor on your street, for somebody in your family, for a guy who every time you see his phone number and caller ID, you go, I don't know. You know that guy. Every one of us has him. By the way, there's at least 1,000 people who go, look at their caller ID and they see it's me and they go, I don't think so. It's absolutely the truth. Right? So again, but you're a soldier. You're a chayil, fighting Menachem based of it. There's nothing to talk about. Your goal is to go out into the world and conquer it. So I'm going to conclude. It's Chof Cheshvan. We'll end with another famous story of the Rebbe Rashab. The Rebbe Rashab is Mesharis. This one I'm sure you all know. The Rebbe Rashab is Mesharis was a simple man. The guy that attended the Rebbe Rashab is a very, very simple man. He didn't totally appreciate who the Rebbe Rashab really was, didn't really understand. One day, he served the Rebbe Rashab a bowl of barley soup. You all know the story, right? He served the Rebbe Rashab a bowl of barley soup. When he put it down in front of the Rebbe Rashab was in the middle of thinking an Indian Chassidus. So the Rebbe Rashab took the spoon, and while he was thinking, sometimes if you're doing something else, you just do something with your hand. So the Rebbe Rashab took the spoon, and he was going like this in the soup. But he was thinking about it in Chassidus. While he was thinking, he was going like this with the spoon. The Mesharis is watching this, and he's losing his mind. Why is the Rebbe not eating? What's wrong with the soup? And he's watching, he's getting more and more frustrated by the second. So finally he decides, why is the Rebbe not eating the soup? Because in a barley soup, the barley sinks to the bottom of the bowl. You serve the soup, the barley sinks to the bottom of the bowl. So it must be that the reason that Rebbe Rashab is doing this with his spoon is because he's looking for the barley. There's no barley in his soup. That's why he's going like this. He won't eat it until he can find the barley. That's what the Meshadas was thinking. So the Meshadas get so frustrated, and he says, Rebbe, Zuch tiefer v'stegefinnen the gruppen. If you look deeper in the bowl, you're going with your spoon only at the surface. You need to go down to the bottom of the bowl, and there you will find the barley. Now, any of you that have ever gone to the store and bought barley, it comes in like a plastic bag. Any of you ever bought it?
Yeah.
What does it say on the bag? Just barley? What's it called? It's called pearl barley. You ever notice that? Next time you're in the store, you'll notice. It's called pearl barley. And in Yiddish, barley corns are referred to as pearls, gruppen. That's the way they're referred to. It's the same word as you use for pearls. So the Meshara said, Rebbe, zuch tiefer wirst du gefinnen die Gruppen. If you look deeper into the bowl, you'll find the pearls. Rebbe Rashab stopped because he had interrupted him, and he smiled. And the Rebbe Rashab said, Ihr seid gerecht, you're actually quite right. Mit darf tief suchen für Gruppen. You have to look very, very deeply to find pearls. Aber the Rebbe Rashab said, if you're going to already dig deep looking for pearls, darf suchen Gruppen für der Hals, nicht Gruppen für der Suppe. If you're going to look deeply already, make sure that what you're looking for is pearls that will go on a necklace. Expensive pearls, not pearls that belong in your soup. Don't waste the opportunity. Yesterday you had the Haftarah of Gehazi. You all know the story? Your teacher will tell you because I'm out of time. Yesterday the story of Gehazi, be careful. Every one of you has been handed a stick by no less than Elisha Hanavi. The Rebbe himself has given every single one of you a stick. The stick is empowered to achieve Tchias HaMesim. You are Yotzil Melchemes Beis David. You have the power to resurrect the dead. Don't waste it on a dog. Make sure that you use your stick for resurrecting the dead that need to be resurrected. Make sure you bring life and chayas to the way you daven. Make sure you bring life and chayas to the way you learn. Make sure you bring life and chayas to your Avos Yisrael and to your Mivtzayim. Never just to be Yoitza. You don't do Mivtzayim just to fulfill your obligation. You do Mivtzayim to be able to achieve the goal. And the Eibusha should bench us, each of us individually and all of us collectively. We should have a true Chof Cheshvan, celebrating the Rebbe Rashab's birthday the way it's supposed to be celebrated. We'll be Yoitzel, Melchemes Beis David, and Menachem. We'll be victorious in the ultimate battle and bring about immediately the Galus of Menachem Mashiach through our one more act of Avos Yisrael, through our one more page of learning, through our one more focused davening. I'll be eager to see the Rebbe take us out of Golus, the Beis Hamikdash Shliach take of me ad mamash. Amen. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Hecht, for your words of inspiration and words of preparation for the day of Chof Cheshvan. And thank you very much to all talmidim and moistus that have participated in today's webinar, especially Yasher Koyach to Label Cohen for organizing this webinar once again. And on this end here in Los Angeles, thank you very much to Yossi Cohen for your help in preparing the webinar and all the technical support. Thank you very much, talmidim of Kitos Zayin Ches here in Cheder, Menachem as well.